start with Dan.
Good evening, Michael. Just wonder how satisfying does that feel? Maybe seeing two different sides of your team this evening.
Yeah, we had to see a few sides actually tonight, and credit to Keith and his staff and the team, because they're a good team. They're tough to play against. You know, they ask certain questions. I thought we started fantastic in the game. Looked really dangerous. Probably could have had an extra goal or two. And then they came into it a little bit. So half-time was a good position for us to be in. We tweaked a couple of things at half-time and probably had a little bit more control. The game wasn't as open, which at that stage is exactly what we kind of wanted, really, and seeing the game out in tough circumstances. So it's a big 3 points. You know, it's that time of the season where results are crucial, you know, and the boys to win again is a good habit to get used to, but it's an important one for us.
Casemiro with another big goal for the team. Just wonder how much do you think he's enjoying these final games, especially at Old Trafford, you know, his United career?
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear how much it means to him, you know, and probably the situation and the clarity of it has helped everything to be so open and understand for the supporters as well, for him, for everybody. And it means a lot to him, you know, and credit to him, because the situation that it is, he's given absolutely everything as well, and had some big moments for us. So all round, it's quite a nice kind of direction for it to be taken in.
Sorry.
Hi, Michael. The formation change for the second half, I mean, roughly what time in the first half did you decide that you were going to do that?
5 minutes before the half time, maybe 5-6 minutes before the second goal. Yeah, we just felt we were a little bit too open at certain times, and we still could be dangerous, but we wanted to stop certain spaces and have a little bit more control within the game, and still carry the threat. So it was purely tactical, I think. Second half we came out and actually had control and still went forward, looked dangerous, and it was what the game needed at that point, really. So obviously the second goal, we were certain anyway, but the second goal put us in a great position then to then have more control of the game. And yeah, in the end, it's gone to plan and to a point, and we've won the game. So we're happy with that.
Jamie?
Just wanted to check, so the outcome off was tactical?
Purely tactical, yeah.
Pete?
Hi, Michael. Another impressive Kobbie display tonight. Was perhaps the most pleasing part of tonight his defensive effort, flying into tackles, and is it something you've been working on behind the scenes?
I just thought on the back of the Chelsea game, really, he's particularly good in the Chelsea game. Similar things, I think, showing a little bit of everything, what he can do. I think he's build-up play, he's taking the ball, he's creation, he's starting the attacks. You know, he's so effective with that. But definitely, he's duels, 1v1s, recovery runs, back tackling. I think over the last 2 games, he's taken that up a level. So it's great to see that he can do it. We know he can do it, and you're trying to give him more responsibility as the games go on. And still not expect too much of him as well, and understand and trying to help him a little bit. But he's doing great at the moment.
Rob?
Hi, Michael. Just in terms of the Champions League, you must feel like you're pretty much there now. I know it's not mathematical, but it's pretty much there.
We'll give ourselves a great chance, you know. We'll put ourselves in a big position. I think these last 2 results have been big to that. It's a tough league, you know. It's tough to get wins. I think you can see that throughout the league. So to get the amount of wins we've had, and especially after the setbacks, you know, to Newcastle defeat, to then bounce back with Villa, the Leeds one to bounce back again. I think the lads have got to take a bit of credit for that, because this week's been very effective in terms of the league, you know. So the other side of it is Champions League's one thing, but it's not something that we should be over celebrating either, you know. We want to be finishing higher up the league, really, and we want to be challenging higher up the league and trying to get more points. So it's not our season doesn't get to a close when that happens. I think it's one thing, certainly. We try and achieve it, and we've put ourselves in a good position at this moment, but there's still more work to be done.
So,
hi, Michael. What can you say about Bruno Fernandes? Another assist tonight. He leads in all aspects of the game. I mean, you might not want to celebrate Champions League, but it feels like he should be celebrating some kind of end of season accolades.
Yeah, hopefully he does. He deserves it, you know, for the impact that he's had and the moments that he's created. I think whether that's creating, whether that's scoring, whether that's having other influence within the group, you know, he's he's had a big season. You know, there's no getting away from it, and it was another good performance from him tonight.
Ian?
Hi, Michael. It's bound to get asked every week if he keeps playing like that between now and the end of the season. But as far as you're concerned, is Casemiro's situation this summer, is that closed?
Yeah, it's pretty clear. Yeah.
There's no way back, kind of thing.
No.
That's-
But from both sides, it's pretty clear. Yeah. No.
Nathan?
Michael, Harry's just been on TV talking about the benefit of being able to play two different systems. Obviously, prior to you arriving, you played back through loads. Is that a massive strength, do you think, that you can just switch it in game and they look a lot more comfortable now, just being able to do that?
Yeah, I think you've got to be able to adapt, you know, and play certain things. And I'm not really a big numbers formation kind of guy. I think it's certain games, certain things. I think you can put a formation on numbers on paper, but actually the way you play, there's only certain moments that you're in them numbers, really, in possession, out possession, whether you're pressing, whether you're a little bit deeper. So the number side of it, it's not so much. It's what we're trying to achieve with it, you know, and try and be flexible. And I thought Noose came in again and did fantastically well, and playing two positions just shows. On the back of last week, he was very unlucky not to be playing tonight, but he stepped in great. And flexibility is important, adapting is important, and actually managing the game and what we need. And I thought we did that tonight.
Carl, and then last question for Ty.
Even Mr. Carrick, congratulations on the win. Stretford End just chanting one more year for Casemiro. You said the situation is resolved. He's got 4 games left. How do you go about maximising his presence on the field, in the dressing room, everywhere? It looks like in places, Mainoo and others are trying to take some pages from Noose's book as well.
Because he's had an influence within the group, you know, he's got huge experience. He's a big player. He's achieved an awful lot in the game, and I have to say, since I've been, he's given everything that he could possibly give. You know, even the situation's probably helped that, knowing exactly where it's at. There's nothing to hide, and he's threw himself right into it. And it's football, you know. It's football. Some players come and go. Players have come and left this football club over the years, and you've got to evolve, and you've got to move on, and you've got to adapt, and that's kind of the world we're in. But he's definitely given everything, and I think it's nice that he's got that connection with the supporters, and it comes from both ways, because I know he's an emotional guy, and it means a lot to him.
Hi, Michael. Benjamin, first half today, didn't really get any chances until he scored the goal. He wasn't on the game a lot when you're on the back foot, and then he gets one chance and takes it. How important is that to have from a number 9? Because it feels like, certainly since you've come in, that's something he's shown a lot, that he doesn't need kind of getting warmed up with chances. He gets a chance, he takes it.
Yeah, it's great. It's great if he can score on the first one. I think. I just think the way the game is at times now. I think if you are an out-and-out number 9, the game kind of went away from it a little bit in many ways, and it's kind of a bit on touches. But I think if you are an out-and-out striker that lives on the last line and plays for those, I think sometimes you're not necessarily always involved in the game, but that's not the role, you know. It's he's certainly got a part to play in link play and out of possession and a role with that. But I think if you look at out-and-out number 9s, they're there to pick the moments and be there at the right time. And it was a big moment for us. I thought he took it fantastically well. He was so calm and composed with it, and it just shows the steps that he's made, I think, to be in that situation and have that confidence to put the ball away like he did.
Thanks.
All right, guys. Cheers.